Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Namaste Lake Chapala morning session. It is Thursday. As you can see, I'm up in my little mirador again because not that we don't have electricity today, we do, but I enjoyed being up here so much yesterday, hearing the birds and the roosters and being in the trees and the spiders, being around life. It was beautiful. So I think I'm going to hang up here more often. It also gives me a nice bird's eye view of what's going on out here at Namaste, which is really what we're always doing. We're expecting to see what is really happening rather than perceiving, or at least thinking that we perceive, what is not happening, what is not real, what has no meaning. And so it's meaning, what true meaning is, that we're going to talk about today. And as we have been, we're going to be going into a journey beyond words. This beautiful book that we started sharing yesterday. It is just so filled with nuggets and these little gems and pearls that are like arrows that penetrate the armor that we have wrapped around ourselves to protect ourselves from the truth. Literally. How insane is that? We've been seeking to protect ourselves from what is real by building a world around us and giving a world that has no reality meaning. But what has no reality has no meaning. And that's basically what we're going to hear today. And the moment we let that be okay, the moment we accept that what has no reality has no meaning, the only thing that has true meaning is that which is real, then we're able to flow back into the reality that has never changed. Just because I ignore reality, just because I ignore what is true, doesn't mean that what is true has changed. It hasn't. The truth, the wholeness that is always whole, the light that is always bright within us is unchangeable. And when we simply relax and allow that meaning to penetrate the armor that has been trying to protect me from the truth, then the truth becomes the only thing I see. And this is me walking out of the insane asylum of perception, where we all see a different world. That literally is what seems to be happening here, is we all seem to be looking upon a different world. And that's why we talk to people, relatives, friends, whatever it may be, or see people on the news and we think, how can they think that? What world are they living in? Well, that's the fact is, when we're wearing this armor, all we can see is the world that we project with our thoughts. And what we're about to hear is that our thoughts are the issue. So let me read a little bit here. This is a chapter called What is Meaning? And it says, what keeps you from seeing anything as it is now is your thinking. Your thinking. For your thoughts confine you to the past. But more so, this is the best part. Your thoughts are the result of the hidden desire not to see, to be separate from. Let me read that one more time. Your thoughts are the result of the hidden desire not to see, to be separate from. Let's just pause there for a moment. Why in the world have we uncovered this hidden desire not to see? Because there is a greater longing within us that has been clouded, that does want to see, that longs to see. And that's why that song we just heard touches us so deeply. I long for thee is another way of saying I long to see. In fact, there is a line in the song, you are all I see. You are all that can be seen. There is nothing else to be seen but that which is really there, that which is really present, which is different from thinking that I can see what is not really there. And that's why lesson 10 in A Course in Miracles says, my thoughts do not mean anything. My thoughts do not mean anything. And better still is the title of lesson 11, which is, my meaningless thoughts are what? Showing me a meaningless world. If my thoughts have no meaning because they're divorced from what is true, then they can only show me what has no meaning. My meaningless thoughts cannot show me a world of truth or meaning. In order to do that, I need to somehow find an escape. And that is to let go of my thoughts. And that's why this is a journey beyond words, because words come from thoughts. As we know, words are symbols of symbols. They're twice removed from the truth. What is once removed from the truth are your thoughts. The thoughts that you think, which show you a meaningless world. So this is our practice, to begin by simply realizing this and accepting this, that your meaningless thoughts are showing you a meaningless world. And there's an escape by longing to see what is true. There was one more little paragraph or 2 or 3 sentences that I want to share. They'll take this even deeper. It says, meaning is that which applies only to truth. Truth merely is. Truth is not and cannot be subject to any kind of interpretation. You can't interpret the truth. Truth cannot be and is not affected by one's reactions. It doesn't change anything just because you react in one way or another. Truth must be, and always is, independent of what you call time. And truth only has meaning. Only the truth has meaning. What is untrue can have no meaning. The Hindu prayer of peace says, "O God, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness into life, from death to immortality. Shanti, shanti unto all." This is the only path we're walking, from the meaningless into what is true, or what has eternal meaning, that which cannot change, that which cannot be interpreted or subject to reaction or subject to debate. None of these things show us what is true, and our longing for what is true is the only thing that's required. We have to desire it, because it's the desire that creates the gravitational pull that draws it in to see what is real. And the light, the brightness of that light, which is within you now, somehow breaks free of this dark prison cell that we have condemned it to. But what is true can never be truly condemned. It can be hidden from us for a moment, but we are eternal beings, and now we are waking up to the light that is brighter than anything this world could ever show us. So meaning, this is our journey beyond words. And I'm going to turn it over to Vicki and hear what Vicki has to say about that. Good morning, Vic.
Well, good morning, Jimmy. Morning, everybody. I have one word to say. The word that is most helpful that I find, the action, is dismiss. Dismiss anything that isn't true, that isn't love, that isn't peace. Thoughts that aren't eternal, dismiss them. Jesus says it 100 times or more in the Course, but it's the simplest practice. It's like, stop it. It's the willingness to dismiss that takes us out of processing and into immediate shifting. If I'm just aware, and that's present awareness, and I see that I'm helter-skelter or whatever I might be, not in a state of peace, if I can dismiss it and choose a state of peace, choose the eternal, make me an instrument of your peace right now, by just dismissing every other thought or interest, desire. All of those exposed interests are nothing more than our hidden desire, again, not to see. All of our desires for things and people and situations, those are desires to not see. And all we have to do is dismiss them for the one true desire that you speak of all the time, that longing for the eternal, for the truth. And then seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things will be given unto you. Then whatever we need here in time is given to us by grace, not by the sweat of our brow. So if we find ourselves anywhere in any confusion, the simple answer, dismiss the thinking that is in our mind. dismiss it and take on the mantle of light of Christ in this instant. Whether we feel it or not doesn't matter. That's where it's simple, it's a choice, and it is a shift. And the message you got from the emissaries, we are ready now. All of us are ready. We can live in the answer if we don't delay and dally in needless process, needless dancing around some fire, but simply accept a true answer now. And I don't want to put up with anything that isn't true in my mind anymore. It's that simple. I'm just not putting up with it. It's like, that's it. Goodbye, Joe. Dismiss it and take on a true desire. I just want the love of God. That's it. I don't care how it shows up. I don't care where, through who, could care less. But right now, I dismiss anything that isn't the love of God. Dismissed.
How simple. You know, Vicki, you reminded me of something that I used to do that might be helpful, because you're right, dismiss. That's the only word we need, because it takes away all of those clouds and all of all the mist that blocks us from seeing. And I find that if I can have some kind of physical thing to do, like a movement or whatever,
Right.
it helps. So I used to call this the Swish movement. And I remember I talked about this. We just, had our third year here at Namaste. We're going to be having a big party on Saturday to celebrate that. But I remember toward the very beginning of our time here, I talked about this. And the Swish movement basically is whenever one of those ideas or thoughts come into my mind, the way that I dismiss them is I just go swish, almost like you're just, if you have a computer or a laptop or a tablet, you can just kind of just go like this and it takes you off that page. And that's what it does. It takes us off the page of judgment or illusion. Swish. An idea
That's
comes into my mind that where I'm attacking someone in my thoughts, I'm judging them in some way. Swish. An idea comes into my field about whatever. Swish. So you guys who live here, you may see me going like this a lot. And I'm not just betting away mosquitoes. I'm actually swishing my mind. So
I remember when you talked about that years ago, Jimmy. That's a good one. Let's not forget it. Thank you.
it's nice to have fun little things that remind us, because if we just say, okay, dismiss, that's the word, unless we practice it consistently, that's going to come in and out of our mind. But if we can make something fun, swish, whatever it may be, it'll stick longer and we'll be able to
It's a holy mudra. The
Yes,
new mudras.
this is our mudra. It reminds me of the story of the man who went to India, and he decided that he wanted to be enlightened. So he went and he sat down at a tree right next to where the Buddha sat and received his enlightenment. And he sat there for years. And he said, I'm not moving from this spot until I'm enlightened. And finally, after years of sitting there at that tree, a fly landed right here in his forehead, and he went like this. And just by total coincidence, in that instant, he was fully enlightened. And to this day, if you go to India, you can still see all of his disciples going like this. It's a different kind of mudra. But all of us are going to be going like this. Swish. All right. Thank you, Vicki. Anything else you want to add to that? All right. Is Teddy here? I didn't look. Teddy, would you like to share anything?
I was just listening to Vicki. The truth is, seek ye first the kingdom, and all else will be added unto you. It's like the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and you don't really want anything that's not going to be useful or that sort of like bogs you down on the journey. And since we have no idea how that journey actually happens, based on our own thinking, the allowance for it to occur based on the way it's meant to, and the acceptance is really the shortest distance between 2 points. And I think that's the prayer for everyone. Just hold my mind in that condition so that, nobody has to do anything extraneous or against the flow. And just the allowance for that straight line to be, and that's what the miracle is. The miracle shortens the necessity for time. So that's basically it. Seek ye first the kingdom and all else will be added unto you. Who knows what we really need? And if we allow it to be given to us, it works best for me. This way I'm not seeking stuff that I don't need and not having to maintain things that are useless in the journey. And that's pretty much it.
I really like that. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So let's go straight to the mark here. And the straightest path that I know is forgiveness, just to forgive everything. And of course, forgiveness, not the forgiveness that we were taught, but the forgiveness of God, which is to realize that the sin that I think was committed by me or against me in reality never even occurred. That's the doneness of this. This is what salvation really is. That's the shortest point, and that is the miracle. So thank you, Teddy. All right, let's go to Namaste. You guys want to unmute over there? And I'll put you up here on the screen. Good morning, dear family. Good to see all of you. You can wave to me over here too, because I can see you. So, Christina, good morning to you. You want to share anything?
Good morning. Teddy's words reminded me of straight is the gate and narrow is the way and few there be that find it. Yesterday I mentioned in my early 20s I was at a community where we were in silence 7 days a week until either noon or 1 o'clock, depending upon the day. And this actually is a very powerful practice in allowing the journey beyond words. When we are forced or when we choose silence for hours out of the day, there is a grand awareness that presents itself in recognizing that, really like 98% maybe of what comes out of our mouth is completely unnecessary. And when we come to recognize that, we come to recognize that 98% or however much, we perceive it as at the moment, of the thought that goes through my mind is also not necessary. And in the beginning, it's truth that starts to replace the thought, so that when there is something, or maybe for some it's chanting. I had years where I chanted. I had years where I recited truth through my mind, so that the activity of the mind was focused on reality, or something that would allow the space between the words to appear. And it's a very powerful practice that helps us, it humbles us. And where humility and truth meet, there is awakening. So I invite us to try it. Today, if we live alone, it's a little more difficult because we don't tend to speak with others for hours at a time. It really has to be a practice that takes place in amidst other people, so that we can notice the restraint that is necessary and the activity that happens that doesn't come out. So may it be that we say yes to the journey beyond words. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. We're here to amplify the space between the thoughts, to prioritize the space between the thoughts, to allow that space to grow and to deepen, as opposed to focusing on the thought, thinking that the thought or the words are going to give us something. What they give us is meaningless. That's all this lesson is about. But the space between them. You may remember a little while ago when I talked about my good friend Jeff Pivar, who used to play guitar for Ray Charles, and it was Ray. He actually played me the recording of this, because what my friend Jeff would do is whenever he'd be in the studio with Ray would come out and teach him things and tell him things, and so he always had a tape recorder next to him so he could record this. And people said, well, why would you do that? He said, well, he didn't know. I mean, he had no idea I was doing it. But he would say the greatest things. And one of the things that Ray taught Jeff is what's important is the space between the notes, not the notes themselves. And that's the same thing we're saying here with thoughts. It's the space between them. Live there. Live there. And in order to do that, we have to be quiet. Or, like you said, Christina, find something that focuses the mind on truth. A chant, a prayer, but keep it as simple as possible. The fewer the words, the better. So thank you for that. Anyone else there at Namaste want to share anything? I can see Joy from up here, but I can't see her on the screen. I'm looking at her. There she is. There she comes. I'm feeling something bubbling up in Joy.
Hi, everyone. Well, such a rich subject this morning, and it's beautiful what you guys shared. And well, about what Vicky was saying about this knees, wow, it's such a powerful tool to dismiss. And as Christina was saying, it is a beautiful thing to notice that so much of what we say is really unnecessary. There's so much peace for me when I realize that. And also, if you don't live in a spiritual community where you can stay silent until noon, and your mornings are a little bit more hectic, like you just wake up and then the gas guy is here, and then the gardener is at your door, and then you come to the session room and it's raining, and it shouldn't be raining, and then you have to call a plumber. And then all of a sudden the microphone goes off, and you, and all these things that are seemingly happening. But, and the other one doesn't work. And you see, and all these things can seemingly be going on, but there's one thing that is underneath it all that you just can't lose. And it's your peace. And it's the knowing that it's all well, no matter what. If you choose that, if you choose the right mind, it's just all well. And I could be like, oh my God, I just want to be in session and that's all I want. You know what? I'm in session. Session is going on 24/7.
Yeah.
My lessons are presenting as they are, and that's just the perfect thing each and every moment. So I'm so blessed and so grateful to be here, and especially working at Namaste, because I get to see all these coming and going things. And as Vicky was saying, it's just love presenting itself. And who am I to judge the way love is presenting towards me? So I just drop the whatever I can see at the I can see that I want to be worried, and I want to be maybe even pissed that, oh my God, I would rather be doing this than, but it's just like, just drop. And then when I drop, it's like my willingness is there and guidance comes. And then I know who to call. I know what to do. And it comes so natural and easy that my peace is still there and I don't have to lose it. That the love of God is where I am acting from. I'm not reacting. And it's just a beautiful way that I am so enjoying. And it's just, to me, is like, oh my God, when I used to say there must be another way, this is the way. And I just want to share that with all of you, that doesn't matter if we can do a practice, great, but the practice is there all the time. And it's just for us to lay aside our own wantings and judgments and just to see the practice and just to be with it and just to follow guidance and live this wonderful life with all these beautiful angels all around. And I just have gratitude in my heart for these sessions and for all of you. Thank you.
Amen.